Pretty recently, the mobile version of Plants vs. Zombies got a new update, and it includes speed-up features. You can now play the game at 2 or 3 times speed by watching an ad every level, or for the price of $5.99 and it only lasts 7 days, or $8.99 for 14 days. So that's already pretty ridiculous that it isn't just a one-time purchase, but no, it gets even more expensive. See, PvZ lets you make multiple profiles in the game. So to do a speedrun, or just if you want to replay the game on a different save, you can easily make a second profile and play again through there. But for some miraculous reason, your speed-up purchase doesn't transfer over between profiles. Meaning if you want to speedrun Plants vs. Zombies with this speed-up feature, you are quite literally spending $5.99 every single run. Now I wanted to see just how much this feature changes the speedrun, so I made the purchase, and unfortunately it's kind of fun. It starts out with normal gameplay since you can't actually buy the speed-up bundle until you make it past 2-2, since that's when Crazy Dave opens his shop. So for this video, we'll just skip over the first 47 minutes to after we make our purchase. And right away, you can see how nice it is to have speed up for a speedrun. In normal PvZ speedruns, you go faster by something called the 50% rule, where if you deal half of a zombie wave's health, the next wave will be sent out. But when we have access to 3x speed, while there probably are some micro adjustments you can make to go a bit faster, a lot of this game is about trying to survive. But the strategies for these next couple of levels are pretty similar to normal speedrunning. Plant some sun shrooms in the back for sun, puff shrooms for early and consistent damage near the front, and fume shrooms with our extra sun to do more damage. I was still getting used to the faster speed though, and quickly got overwhelmed, which is where the next weird aspect of PvZ Mobile comes in. Instead of having a mower on every lane, you only get 3 of them, and if you want extras, you would need to watch an ad. Obviously, I'm never gonna do that, so this actually adds a kind of interesting part to the speedrun, where you need to prioritize lanes without a mower a bit more than you would in regular speedruns. But it is kind of funny how they constantly try to get you to watch more and more ads, especially after already paying $5.99 for the speed up. From here, we have 2-5 with Whack a Zombie, and this minigame is really hard at 3 times speed. Whacking the zombies isn't too bad by itself, but we also need to pick up sun and use grave busters, so I use the strategy of mostly trying to stay at 3 times speed, but I would switch to 1x or 2x whenever needed, since I didn't want to lose the level. After that, our next 4 night levels are pretty similar. We put up sun shrooms and scaredy shrooms in the back, and fume shrooms and puff shrooms in the front, while always trying to use grave busters on graves, and doom shrooms at the end to kill every zombie, at least in the levels where we have that plant unlocked. And 210 was a conveyor belt level, so you already know that wasn't too hard either, and here's where I really got used to the 3x speed and felt ready for anything. Which is good since the pool levels are next, and these ones are very stressful. We're back to daytime levels, which means we can use sunflowers again, and immediately we'll begin with the strategy of building up our sun in the back and using potato mines to kill the first few zombies. Usually we could also let a lane or 2 go to mowers, but depending on our mower RNG, we can't always rely on that. Then it's time to get pea shooters on ore land lanes out ASAP, and ones on the water lanes following that. But as you can see, even on the very first level of this new world, I was already struggling with the cone heads, and let 1 lane go to the mowers, not my greatest start. Thankfully, after that mistake, I was all set up and focused a lot of damage on the water lanes for the final flag, since you usually get way too many zombies there. For the next few levels though, we're switching over to repeaters instead of pea shooters, and these make for much easier wins with the increased damage. Even bucket heads and football zombies couldn't do too much. Our next small problem was 3-3 with snorkel zombies, but we could just place an insta-kill in front of them, and on 3-4 we also got the tangle kelp, making it even easier to kill these guys, so at this point we're cruising by with an excessive amount of repeaters. 3-5 was interesting though, because we get tiny zombies who already move much faster than normal, so with the 3 times speed, they're moving like 6 times the speed of a regular enemy. This was a bit uncomfortable throughout the level, especially against football and snorkel zombies, but with some cherry bombs, we were able to make it through. Then on 3-6, we finally buy 8 plant slots, pool cleaners, and the rake, which automatically kills the first zombie of each level, and we'll pretty much always want to have a rake active throughout the rest of the run, since it saves us on having to plant an extra potato mine. But yeah, our repeater strategy at this point is so good that I had almost no problems with the next few levels, except for dolphin zombies since they swim super fast, and you either need to block them with a lily pad or insta-kill them. So I would just constantly be on the lookout since I wanted to stay at 3x speed as much as possible. Finally, on to 310, we got another conveyor belt level, and this one is super easy where you just want tall nuts, torchwoods, and 3 Peters in every lane, and you're good to go. So on World 4, we're back to the night with the fog levels, and for the first few, it's pretty simple stuff. We get our puff shrooms and sea shrooms near the front, keep sun shrooms and scaredy shrooms in the back, and put down planterns whenever convenient to actually see through the fog. But there actually is a small problem that you normally wouldn't expect in 4-3. This level introduces balloon zombies, and the normal strat here is to let them go to the mowers, but since we only get 3, you can't always depend on that. So I just made sure to have a cactus ready to plant at any moment in the later parts of the level, and it worked out fine. And 4-4 gives us blowers, so that problem completely goes away, since we can just use them whenever there are balloon zombies. 4-5 is then a vase breaker level, where you need to break all the vases and they can randomly send out a plant or a zombie, meaning we need to use plants in the correct spots to stay alive. Normally this isn't a problem at all, but in 3x speed, the level can be a bit stressful. So I like to start at 1x speed and get all my plants down before switching to 3x speed at the end, just to be safe. For the final 5 fog levels, only new problem is pogo zombies, where it's important to have a bunch of puff shrooms on every lane, otherwise they can really easily eat our brains. Thankfully, I had a mower on the pogo zombies lane for this level, and for future ones we can use magnet shrooms, which counters them too. Now with all the fog levels done, it's time for the roof. In these, we have an interesting strategy where normally you're supposed to rely on your catapult plants, which can hit zombies over the curve of the roof. But a lesser known strategy is as long as you place regular plants like repeaters on row 5 or later, they can actually still hit the zombies. And we use those strats until 4-4, where we unlock the coffee bean and want to buy a gloom shroom from Crazy Dave. This gives us the fun strategy of grinding sun and using instants for the first few zombies, before we place down a fume shroom, coffee bean to wake it up, and gloom shroom on top of the fume shroom on the 2nd and 4th lanes. Then we'll protect them with a pumpkin, letting these guys hit every single lane with a ton of constant damage. This is a bit more stressful to set up with the increased speed, but it's very doable, and we can keep placing more gloom shrooms to get through these normally slow levels incredibly fast. 4-5 is the cherry bomb and chomper level, not too much to say about that, but for our next 4 levels we get garlic. When a zombie takes a bite of the garlic plant, it moves lanes, meaning we can place garlic on our 1st, 3rd, and 5th lanes, and our gloom shroom only on the 3rd lane. This moves every zombie to the 2nd or 4th lane, so they all get hit, and our setup is really good now, meaning we get through these levels super fast. We do need to watch out for gargantuars still, but we can just use 2 insta-kills on them, so I just had to be prepared for that, and we're on to 510. This is a conveyor belt level where we fight against Dr. Zomboss, who's in a giant robot, and brings a bunch of zombies against us. Main strategy is just put a bunch of different plants on each lane, and whenever Dr. Zomboss brings his head down, we can slow the speed to 2x and spam our jalapenos and ice shrooms. Overall, not too bad of a level, and we finish with a time of 2:26:07, which is over an hour faster than the regular mobile world record that doesn't use speed up. Hopefully PvZ Replanted doesn't have their speed up behind an additional paywall, but I mean, it probably won't. Alright, subscribe if you enjoyed. Bye.